Jax's revenge domain.
It was supposed to be just another Monday morning safety meeting, weekly protocol review, maybe some updates on the Tempe municipal project. But the second Gary Hamilton cleared his throat and said he had big news, my gut tightened like a torque wrench. Something felt off spec. My name is Eddie Rodriguez. I'm 54, live in Phoenix, and I've been doing quality control for 15 years. Started in manufacturing back in Detroit before the plant shut down, then moved here when Maria and I got divorced. Needed a fresh start, someplace where my boy Carlos could grow up with opportunities. Gary stood at the front of the conference room with that practiced smile he used when he was about to screw someone over. Starting next month, he announced, we're officially promoting Stephanie Hamilton to Director of Operations. The room burst into applause. People actually clapped. I sat there checking my safety glasses like they'd fogged up because I couldn't have heard that right. Stephanie, 26 years old, fresh out of business school, been here exactly 8 months. The same woman who last week asked me if concrete needed to cure differently in Arizona heat. I'd been running quality control at Desert Peak Development since they hired me away from my last manufacturing job. Soil compaction tests, structural inspections, permit compliance, all of it. When foundation issues cropped up on the Scottsdale project last year, I caught the problem before concrete pour, saved the company $200,000 in rework costs. The thing about quality control, it's not glamorous work. Nobody notices when you prevent a disaster. They only notice when things go wrong. I've spent 15 years catching problems before they became expensive mistakes. Failed soil tests, improper rebar spacing, concrete mix ratios that wouldn't pass inspection. Each time I flagged an issue, that was money saved, schedules protected, reputations preserved. Gary kept talking about vision and fresh perspectives while I stared at my clipboard. The specifications were all there in black and white torque values, compaction ratios, cure times. Numbers don't lie, but apparently they don't matter either when your boss decides family comes first. 8 months ago, Gary stopped me by the coffee machine. Hey Eddie, heads up. My daughter's starting Monday, just finished her MBA, wants to learn the business from the ground up. She'll be shadowing you for a while. I figured it was some version of bring your kid to work day, maybe a month of observation before she moved into marketing or HR. Instead, in walked Stephanie Hamilton looking like she stepped out of a magazine, designer hard hat, spotless work boots that had never seen actual dirt. You must be Eddie, she said, offering a handshake. Dad says you're the quality backbone around here. That wasn't respectful. That was rehearsed, like she already knew where this was heading and I just hadn't figured it out yet. But I trained her anyway, showed her how to read compaction reports, explained why we test concrete at 7, 14, and 28 days. Walked her through the permit process with Maricopa County, introduced her to the city inspectors, even covered for her when she approved that concrete delivery during monsoon season without checking the weather forecast. You learn things about people when you're teaching them technical work. Some folks have an instinct for it. They understand that every specification exists for a reason, that shortcuts in construction don't save time, they create problems down the road. Others treat it like paperwork, just boxes to check. Stephanie was definitely the second type. She'd nod along when I explained why soil density mattered, but I could see her eyes glazing over when I got into the technical details. Ask questions like, can't we just use software to handle all this testing stuff? I'd explain that the software is only as good as the data you feed it, and you need to understand the fundamentals to know when the data doesn't make sense. 3 weeks into her training, we had a foundation inspection scheduled for a commercial project in Chandler. Standard procedure, check the excavation depth, verify soil compaction, confirm proper drainage before the concrete trucks arrive. Stephanie wanted to observe, so I brought her along. The site superintendent, Danny Morales, met us at the gate. Good guy, been working construction in Arizona for 20 years. He knew his business. Morning, Eddie. Ready to sign off on this foundation. I walked the excavation perimeter with my compaction tester, checking density at 6-foot intervals. The readings came back at 89%, 91%, 88%, all below the 95% minimum required for load-bearing structures. We've got a problem, I told Danny. Soil's not compacted to spec. Need to bring the equipment back out and rework this before any concrete gets poured. Danny nodded. He'd rather deal with the delay than risk foundation failure down the road. That's the difference between experienced contractors and the ones who cut corners. Stephanie looked confused. What's the big deal? It's only a few percentage points. That's when I knew she didn't understand the fundamentals in construction, especially here in Arizona with our expansive clay soils. Those few percentage points mean the difference between a stable foundation and one that shifts and cracks when the monsoons hit. I spent the drive back explaining load distribution, soil bearing capacity, how inadequate compaction leads to differential settling. Technical stuff, but important if you're going to approve work that people will depend on for decades. Thought I was being helpful. Turns out I was just building my replacement. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago. I was staying late, double-checking soil density reports for the Tempe project. Quality control doesn't keep bankers' hours. You catch problems when you catch them, not when it's convenient. The office was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioning and the occasional car passing on Indian School Road. I'd been reviewing the geotechnical reports from our soil engineer, cross-referencing them with the compaction test results from last week. Something wasn't adding up. The bearing capacity calculations showed one thing, but the field test data showed another. In my experience, when numbers don't match, it's usually because someone made an assumption they shouldn't have made. That's when I heard voices coming from Gary's office. Door was cracked open just enough to let sound carry down the hallway. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but in a quiet office, voices carry. Still no word on promoting Eddie. That was Walter Hudson, one of our senior investors. Been with the company since Gary's father started it back in the 80s. Walter understood the technical side better than most money guys. Gary laughed, low and dismissive. Eddie's a specs guy, good with the technical stuff, but that's where he stays. We need leadership with broader vision. I stopped typing, set my pencil down without making a sound. Eddie's the one who's kept your projects from failing the last 5 years. Walter pushed back. Remember the Glendale project? Foundation would have failed inspection if he hadn't caught that soil issue. Saved us $300,000 and 6 months of delays. Sure, but Stephanie's got the MBA. She understands where the market's going, plus she's family. This business has always been about family. Family, there it was. All those late nights checking foundation specs, all those Saturday mornings dealing with inspector complaints. All those times I'd caught problems that could have shut down entire projects. None of it mattered because I wasn't born with the right last name. I'd heard enough, closed my laptop without making a sound, gathered my papers, and walked straight to the parking lot. Didn't say goodnight to anyone. The desert air was still warm at 9 p.m., typical for September in Phoenix. I sat in my truck for a few minutes, looking back at the office building. 20 years I'd been doing this work. 15 years with Desert Peak. Started as a senior inspector, worked my way up to quality manager. Every project I'd touched had come in on spec, on time, under budget. That night, I sat on my back patio, looking out at South Mountain, nursing a Tecate. Called my son Carlos, who's working as a junior engineer up in Flagstaff. Kid's smart, got his degree from ASU, landed a job with the city engineering department right out of college. Dad, he said, you sound tired. Just wondering if hard work actually means anything anymore. You taught me it does. That's got to count for something. Smart kid, gets that from his mother. Maria always said I was too honest for my own good, that I needed to learn to play politics. After the divorce, she moved back to Tucson to be closer to her family. We're cordial now, especially when it comes to Carlos. She calls me stubborn. I call it principled. Maybe we're both right. How's the job treating you? I asked him. Good. Actually, my supervisor mentioned your name last week. Said he worked with you on that bridge project in Tempe a few years back. James McKenna. He said you were the only contractor QC guy who actually read the engineering specs instead of just rubber stamping everything. That made me smile. James is solid, one of those city engineers who actually cares about doing things right. We'd worked together on 3 or 4 municipal projects over the years. Always professional, always thorough. Tell him I said hello. I will. Dad, you okay? You really do sound off tonight. I told him about Gary's announcement, about Stephanie getting promoted after 8 months while I'd been there 15 years. Carlos was quiet for a minute. That's messed up, Dad. You trained her, right? Yeah, I did. And now she's your boss. Looks that way. Another pause. Then Carlos said something that surprised me. Maybe it's time you started your own thing. You know enough about quality control to consult independently. Half the contractors in the valley know your reputation. I'd never really considered it. Always figured I was a company guy, needed the steady paycheck and benefits. But sitting there under the desert stars, listening to my son suggest I strike out on my own, the idea didn't sound as crazy as it should have. Consulting's risky business, I said, so is staying somewhere they don't value you. Smart kid. The next morning, I arrived at the office determined to make the best of the situation. Maybe Gary was right. Maybe I was just a specs guy, and Stephanie would grow into the leadership role. Maybe I could find a way to work with her, help her understand the technical side while she handled the business development. That optimism lasted about 2 hours. Stephanie was at my desk when I walked in, 3 monitors pulled up, legal pads covered in scribbled notes, looking like she hadn't slept. The Tempe project file was spread across my desk, like she'd been searching for something. Eddie, she said, voice tight with stress. Something's wrong with the Tempe project. I looked over her shoulder at the computer screen. Spreadsheets, compliance reports, inspector notes, and a giant red cell blinking in the corner like a warning light. My stomach dropped. "That's a soil compaction failure notice," I said, pointing at the screen. "When did this come in this morning? But I don't understand what it means." I clicked through the files, pulling up the original geotechnical report and comparing it to the field test data. The numbers told a clear story. The compaction test showed 87% density. City requires 95% minimum for load-bearing structures. Simple math. The foundation wouldn't hold under design loads. "This triggers a stop work order," I explained, trying to keep my voice calm. "No concrete, no framing, nothing until we recompact and retest. We're looking at a 3-week delay minimum." Her face went pale. "How much will that cost?" I did quick calculations in my head. Crew downtime, equipment rental, schedule penalties to the general contractor, inspection fees, potential claims from subcontractors. About 180 grand. Maybe more if the city decides to audit our other projects. Stephanie stared at the screen like it might change if she looked hard enough. "I approved that compaction report last week without checking the actual test results." "I didn't know I was supposed to." "You're supposed to know everything now." That's what Director of Operations means. I spent the next hour walking her through damage control. Call the crew supervisor, halt all work immediately, bring in the compaction equipment, schedule new tests with an independent lab. Basic stuff, but every hour of delay added to the cost. While she made the calls, I pulled up our other active projects and started cross-referencing her approvals with the actual test data. What I found wasn't pretty. The Phoenix commercial project had soil density at 88%. The Glendale residential development showed improper rebar spacing that somehow got signed off. The Scottsdale office complex had concrete slump tests that were borderline failures. 4 different projects, 4 different problems, all approved by Stephanie in the past month. By lunch, my phone was ringing. James McKenna from the city of Tempe. "Eddie, I just got a stop work notice from someone named Stephanie." "What's the story?" "She's taking over operations," I said, keeping my tone neutral. He sighed. "We've got a public hearing next month on the development permit extension. If we show up and she can't explain the technical specs, this project dies. The city council is already skeptical about this development, just giving you a heads up." An hour later, Danny Morales called from his concrete company. Same concern. "Eddie, we've worked together 8 years. I trust your QC process. But if I'm dealing with someone who doesn't know the difference between structural concrete and sidewalk mix." "I understand," I said. "Look, no offense to the girl, but she approved a concrete pour last week without checking the weather forecast. We had to cover 2,000 square feet of fresh concrete with tarps when that storm rolled in. Cost me $6 grand in overtime and materials." By end of day, I had 6 messages from contractors asking some version of the same question. "Are you really leaving? And who do we call when things go sideways?" I answered all of them professionally, but inside I could see what was coming. Gary didn't just screw me over. He set Stephanie up for failure, and she was dragging the whole company down with her. That evening I made a decision, opened Word and typed 4 lines. "Effective 2 weeks from today, I'm resigning from my position as Quality Control Manager at Desert Peak Development. Eduardo Rodriguez." Printed it, signed it, and set it on my kitchen table. I'd hand it in tomorrow morning, but first I had some research to do. Spent the next 3 hours online looking up consulting rates for quality control specialists, researching business license requirements, checking out the competition. Carlos was right. There was room in the market for an independent QC consultant who actually knew the specifications and had relationships with the inspectors. The next morning, I walked straight to Gary's office. He was still grinning when I knocked, probably thinking about how smoothly his family succession plan was working out. "Eddie, perfect timing." I wanted to talk about transition planning. "I'm resigning." I dropped the letter on his desk, effective in 2 weeks. His smile flickered like a bad circuit breaker. "Wait, what?" He picked up the letter like it was contaminated. "You're serious?" I nodded, already sent copies to HR and accounting. He stood up, hands spread like he was calming down a spooked horse. "Let's not make any hasty decisions here. I know the promotion might seem sudden, but there's still growth potential for you. I'm aware of my potential," I said. "I'm also aware of my limitations." Gary stepped around the desk, getting into what he probably thought was his persuasive zone. "Look, how about this? Senior Quality Manager. Same responsibilities, maybe a bump in 6 months. You'd report to Stephanie, sure, but you'd maintain full oversight of specs and compliance." "No, just like that." He blinked twice, like he couldn't process a one-word answer. "If you leave like this," he said, leaning forward, "I can't promise good references. You've built your whole network through this company. That's proprietary knowledge walking out the door." I tilted my head. You threatening me? I'm trying to protect you from making a mistake. The mistake's already been made. I'm just correcting course. His face flushed red. You think you're irreplaceable? You think this company can't function without Eddie Rodriguez checking every bolt and measuring every foundation? We'll find out, won't we? I walked out and closed the door, didn't slam it, that would have been unprofessional. Just went back to my desk and started organizing my files. Personal tools, reference manuals, contact information for suppliers and inspectors. Everything that belonged to me, not the company. Word spread fast in a small office. By noon, 3 other employees had stopped by my desk asking if it was true. Nicole Hang from project management looked genuinely upset. Eddie, you can't leave. You're the only one here who actually understands the technical side. You understand it too, Nicole. You just don't give yourself enough credit. She shook her head, not like you do. I can read plans and manage schedules, but when something goes wrong in the field, you're the guy we call. What happens when Stephanie runs into a problem she can't handle? She'll figure it out, or she won't. That afternoon, Stephanie knocked on my office doorframe. She looked exhausted, overwhelmed, maybe a little desperate. Can we talk? She asked. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. She sat down, fidgeting with her phone. I heard you're leaving 2 weeks from today because of the promotion, among other things. She was quiet for a moment, then said, I know I'm not qualified for this job. I know Dad put me here because I'm family, not because I earned it. That's between you and him, but I want to learn. I want to do this right. Can you help me? I looked at her. For the first time since she'd started, she seemed genuine. Not performing, not trying to impress anyone, just scared and honest. What do you want to know? Everything. How to read soil reports, how to know when contractors are cutting corners, how to spot problems before they become disasters. That takes years to learn. Then teach me the basics, the stuff that'll keep me from making expensive mistakes. I spent the next 2 hours going through the fundamentals. Soil bearing capacity, concrete strength requirements, proper compaction procedures. Basic quality control that every operations manager should know. She took notes, asked good questions, actually seemed to be listening. Maybe there was hope for her after all. But hope only goes so far when the foundation is already cracked. 2 weeks later, I was officially unemployed for the first time in 15 years. But I wasn't sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I'd used those 2 weeks to make calls, send emails, set up meetings. By my last day, I had 3 consulting contracts lined up and business cards printed. Eduardo Rodriguez, Quality Control Consulting, Municipal and Commercial Projects. My first office was the kitchen table in my house, near Ahwatukee. Nothing fancy, but the overhead was low and the commute was great. Carlos helped me set up a website over the weekend, basic stuff, but it looked professional. Listed my certifications, experience, the types of projects I specialized in. Quality control consulting turned out to be exactly what the market needed. Small contractors who couldn't afford full-time QC staff, developers who wanted independent verification of their testing, municipalities looking for experienced inspectors for specific projects. I knew the specs, I knew the inspectors, and most importantly, I had a reputation for catching problems before they became expensive disasters. My first big contract came from an unexpected source. The city of Tempe hired me to audit Desert Peak's failed projects. Turns out, the soil compaction issue wasn't isolated. After my departure, Stephanie had approved 6 other questionable reports over the following month. I spent 2 weeks reviewing their quality control records, testing procedures, compliance documentation. The findings weren't pretty. Inadequate soil prep, rushed concrete pours, missing rebar inspections, structural calculations that didn't match field conditions. Basic stuff that should never have made it past QC. My report was thorough, professional, and damning. The city used it to justify suspending Desert Peak's municipal contracting privileges for 6 months. Gary called me that afternoon, voice tight with barely controlled rage. You destroyed us, he said. I documented what I found. The city asked for technical analysis, not personal favors. This is revenge, Eddie, pure and simple. No, I said, looking at the data sheet spread across my kitchen table. This is quality control, same thing I've been doing for 15 years. The only difference is now I'm getting paid fairly for it. He hung up without another word. 6 months later, I was running a legitimate consulting practice out of a small office near Sky Harbor Airport. Nothing fancy, desk, computer, file cabinets, coffee maker that actually worked. But the phone kept ringing. Word travels fast in the construction industry when you're the guy who actually knows the specifications and isn't afraid to enforce them. Danny Morales became one of my best clients. Turns out, having an independent QC consultant review his projects before submission saved him thousands in rework costs and gave him a competitive edge on municipal bids. Eddie, he told me over coffee one morning, you've made me look like a genius to the city engineers. They trust my submittals now because they know you've checked them. James McKenna started recommending my services to other municipalities. You need someone who understands both the technical requirements and the political realities, he told the engineering director in Scottsdale. Eddie Rodriguez is that guy. Even Nicole Hang reached out. She'd left Desert Peak 3 months after I did, started working for a mid-sized general contractor in Tempe. They need someone to set up their QC procedures, she said. Interested in a consulting contract? Carlos called one evening while I was reviewing foundation plans for a client in Scottsdale. Dad, guess what? I got promoted to senior engineer. My supervisor said having your name in the industry opened some doors. You earned it yourself. I said I just showed you how to read the blueprints correctly. Still, it matters that people respect what you do, smart kid. He was right. Reputation is everything in this business. Take 20 years to build, 5 minutes to destroy. I'd spent my career building mine on technical competence and professional integrity. Now it was paying dividends. Last week, I was grabbing lunch at Desert Grill near the airport, one of those spots where contractors and inspectors meet between jobs. I was reviewing soil reports when I spotted her at a corner table, Stephanie. Books spread out, notebook full of diagrams, no designer blazer. Just her and a stack of technical manuals. I walked over, she looked up, startled but not unhappy to see me, Eddie. Hey, I nodded at the books. Studying? Continuing education, she said. Construction management certification. Turns out there's a lot I didn't learn in business school. Concrete chemistry and soil mechanics aren't usually covered in MBA programs. She gave a tired smile. Yeah, I figured that out the hard way. After the Tempe project fell apart and the city suspended our contracts, I realized I was in way over my head. What happened to the company? Dad sold it last month. Too many canceled contracts, too much liability exposure. The new owners cleaned house, brought in their own management team. I resigned before they could fire me. We sat quietly for a moment, then she said, "Thanks for not completely destroying me during those 2 weeks. You could have sabotaged everything, but you didn't. Wasn't my job to ruin you. Wasn't my job to save you either. I get that now." She pointed to her notebook. This time I'm learning the actual engineering before I try to manage anything. I looked at her notes. Real formulas, structural load calculations, soil bearing capacity charts. The kind of technical details you can't fake your way through. Good approach, I said. Foundation knowledge matters in this business, she nodded. Dad always said business was about relationships and vision. Turns out it's really about not screwing up the technical details. I stood to leave, then turned back. You're doing it right this time. That counts. Outside, the Arizona sun was starting its descent behind the mountains. My phone buzzed, text from Carlos. Dad, free this weekend? Want to show you the bridge project I'm designing. Could use your input on the foundation specs. I texted back, absolutely. Then I drove home to my place near South Mountain. Small house, decent yard, quiet street, nothing fancy, but it's mine. No corporate politics, no family drama, just solid ground under my feet. 15 years ago, I thought I was building something at Desert Peak. Turns out, I was just fixing other people's problems while they took the credit. Now I'm building my own practice, and the foundation is solid. Quality control done right, one project at a time. Look, if you're out there grinding away at a job where your expertise gets overlooked and politics trumps performance, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you're not in construction, but every industry has its version of this story. The question is, what are you going to do about it? You can keep waiting for recognition that may never come, or you can bet on yourself. Take what you've learned, what you're good at, and build something that's actually yours. The people who matter will still know your number, and that's enough.